Welcome to the podcast designed to fuel your success selling technology solutions. I'm your host, Josh Presto, SVP of Sales Engineering at Telarus, and this is Next Level Biz Tech. Hey everybody, welcome back. We got a special episode for you today. We're doing business blueprints, lessons from founders. And who better than to have on Mr. Rob Hale, CEO and founder of Granite. Rob, welcome on, man.
Josh, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you making time. This is about helping our partners and our advisors that are out there building businesses understand how people have built, struggles, strategies, all that kind of good stuff. So walk us through, for anybody that doesn't know, you've built Granite into this $1 billion plus powerhouse after some setbacks early on. So walk us through the early parts of your journey and kind of what fueled this comeback.
Sure. I'll give you my checkered history. Anybody who's considering partner with Granite probably should know it. I graduated in '88. I went to work for MCI, the long distance company in sales. Loved it. There was an opportunity called aggregation, which was bulk buying of AT&T services. And my customers asked me about it. I said, I don't really know what that is, but I'll look into it. And as I looked into it, I said to my parents, we can do this. And so it's very important to me to tell you that my parents put up $400,000 in 1990. So there's a lot of zeros around Granite and me, and it can get lost in the shuffle. But $400,000 in 1990, my parents bet their retirement on me in 1990. Yeah. So they were the funders, and I was the founder of a company called Network Plus. 1990, we lost money. From 91 to 98, we grew profitably. By 98, we'd grown probably about $150 million business. We net 10, 11, 12, 13% every year. We had an awesome business. I just didn't know how great it was. Goldman Sachs, the investment bank, called me and said, hey, Rob, you want to do a bond offering? And I said, listen, I'm a phone guy, not a finance guy. I didn't even know what that means. They said, if you do a bond offering, you could do an IPO and you will be a billionaire. And I was like, yeah, I definitely want to do that bond offering. Yes, please. Yeah. And so what they said was going to happen happened. We went public. Goldman was our lead bank in June of 1999. First trade of the stock was supposed to happen at $16 a share. The demand was so high, there was no trade until $26 a share. Over the next 8 or 9 months, it got up to $63 a share. I owned 27 million of those shares, so I had $1.4 billion next to my name. According to Forbes, I was the 7th wealthiest guy in the world under 40. March of 2000, a bubble burst. It felt like it burst, primarily in my face. So first 8 or 9 months, stock goes like this. Next 18 months, stock goes like this. Fall of 2001, Goldman and Fleet CSFB called me and said, hey, we had a credit line. You have a credit line. When it expires, we're not going to renew it. Bad luck. And I said, hey, listen, we were EBITDA positive. We never missed a covenant. They said, we don't bank CLEX anymore. You're out of luck. So February 4th of 2002, I hit bottom. February 4th of 2002, when we declared bankruptcy, all of the equity became zero. So to lose all that money, it hurts. It hurts really badly to think, hey, if I peeled a tiny bit out of that I could have taken care of my family for life, and to let that opportunity slip through your fingers, man, it hurts. It hurts bad. That morning, it got worse. I think I run the sales force here at Granite. I thought that I ran the sales force at Network Plus. We'd gotten debtor in possession financing, which is financing you take into bankruptcy. It had a contingency, which was I had to tell 400 salespeople, I think you trusted me. That's probably why you joined. I have betrayed you. All 400 of you are let go on a phone call. And then afternoon calls got worse. My wife was at home with a 2-year-old, 4-year-old, and a 6-year-old. Phone rang, and the guy on the end of the call, when she picked it up, said, because of what your husband's done, I'm going to come over and kill you. So I've been to the bottom. Accepting your health, I'm not sure anything business-wise can happen worse than what I've seen. We had a string of bad luck. Now, I'm not passing the buck. I drove the bus. I made all those decisions. But I think we had a string of bad luck in the year or two preceding our failure. But we had a string of great luck for the next couple of years. So we were bankrupt February 4th of 2002, sold at auction March 15th, 2002, and we started Granite June 3rd of 2002. And by the way, I would have started faster, but this, as you guys know, in this business, it's a regulated business, and so you needed state and federal approvals to be in the business. But we started Granite, and our industry said that the only way you could create value was to control the customer, which was to build a switch-based architecture where the customer ran through your apparatus. And I'm telling you the truth, that's what we were intending to do at the beginning of Granite. I'm telling you that's what we were doing.
Yeah.
And we did wholesale with Verizon, just because the only way we could get in the game was to do wholesale. And so we did wholesale with Verizon. And Walmart and Walgreens said, hey, listen, if you want to beta test the idea of consolidating and discounting our phone lines in the Boston stores, go ahead. We did it. A month or two later, so far so good. Let's consolidate and discount the phone lines in our New England stores. So far so good. Let's consolidate and discount the phone lines throughout the Northeast. Then almost to the same day, they brought us to Bentonville and to Chicago, and they said, hey, this consolidation, this is good for us. We're going to do this for the rest of the country. We may or may not do this with you, but we are going to do this for the rest of the country. And so by the time the wheels touch home, I got to make a decision. Are we going to do, now our industry in Wall Street said the only way to create value is to control the customer, which was with a switch-based solution. But we thought, well, the number one and the number five retailer think there's a need for essentially national consolidation, the aggregation model, which, by the way, in 2002 didn't exist. And so we created aggregation, and we get lots of awards for Entrepreneur of the Year. We've created 2,000 American jobs. We got a lot of cool things that happen at Granite. And people say, how'd you get that awesome idea? The truth is, we didn't have that awesome idea. The big customers did.
You listened,
Yes.
You listened to the customers,
Yes.
right? It seems
Yes.
like there's a common theme in that. All these great products, all these great inventions start out here,
yes,
and then inevitably the thing that makes it becomes this product. So you listen to the customers.
That's it. So and as I mentioned, we had a string of bad luck. We had a string of great fortune, which, like I'm telling you, I'm certain I would not be sitting here with you today having all the fun that I have in my job if we had not had the opportunity to begin that relationship with those two great companies and then listen to them. So the good fortune that we had was listening, getting those opportunities, getting those partnerships, and then listening to them, and it's created the path to all of our progress.
I love it. I love the story.
Thank you.
So if you think about then, you started out in this, that piece of the business, right? And you've moved now innovation. You've kind of fostered this culture of innovation in what might have started out as something transactional. I mean, how do you keep this culture of innovation and continue building? What's the mindset from your perspective?
I think stay true to your core, and again, listen to the customer. So what we learned in 2002, 3, 4, 05, and so on, was that what we are good is for multi-location big business. That's what we're good at. And that's what Granite's good at. So if you got a lot of devices, you got a lot of locations, and you want someone to help you drive uniformity, consistency, replicable skill sets, scalable model with cost efficiencies, we're your guys. If you got one great big building and you just need a couple of data pipes in a hosted solution inside that building, I don't think we're your guys. So I mean, I know that no one's ever gotten a show before and said, hey, don't give us that piece of the business, but I'm telling you, we are what we are: multi-location big business, lots of devices. That's what we're great at. Beyond that, I'm not sure we're the right solution. And so the way I look at this is, we know what we are, but then within that church, we should move to different pews. And so when we talk about innovation and you talk about the award-winning Edge Boot product, which is the rebooting product, again, I'd love to tell you that we invented that. I'm telling you the truth. TJ Maxx is the one who I have a very bright teammate who created that product, but TJ Maxx is the one who catalyzed that idea. So everybody in this call has certainly had times when a location goes down, and the rebooting will restore the service. but they can't get to it because the circuit that went down was
Been
the access
banned. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
that box. And TJ Maxx said to us, the problem is when that circuit goes down, I got to tell a manager, stop selling sweaters and go start pushing buttons, and she doesn't want to do it, or I got to wait for a tech and it's $400 and it's tomorrow. They said to us, wouldn't it be cool if you could do this wirelessly, if you could access this box, because the wire line went down. Now let's come through the sky and get to it. And we said, yeah, that'd be cool. And we scoured the earth and it didn't exist. And so we built, a patent, first created the
Yeah.
product, then patented EdgeBoot. And it's, as you know, it doesn't exist in our space today. And it's award-winning and booming on the sales side. I'd love to tell you, oh my goodness, that we concocted that in some lab. I'm telling you that TJ Maxx, which is the biggest retailer in Massachusetts, they're the ones who catalyzed the idea. So listen to that multi-location big business, and they'll keep helping you. They'll
Yeah.
keep creating growth.
I mean, it says a lot too, kind of about how you guys go to market with these customers. Of clearly they trusted you. They were in a spot where they thought, "Hey, I wonder if these guys can help this with us." And they didn't try to figure it out themselves. They said,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, you guys have been a great partner for us.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can help with us." And you're sitting
Yes.
here going, "Oh my gosh, this
Yes.
is a great idea,
Yes.
product, right?" Coming from a guy that grew up in IT, how many times does resetting something fix something? I mean,
Right.
it's phenomenal. So let's make it
Yes.
easy. So kudos to you guys for figuring that out and
Thank
just
you.
listening and being in that spot to be aligned.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's culturally. Oh, we're private, so we have the luxury of taking a long-term view, which is luxury. And we have a bunch of right teammates, and we're willing to invest today to be rewarded tomorrow. So we can take 10 guys and say, hey, for the next 4 months, you're not doing anything. You figure out how to make this thing work. And is that a cost? Of course. But is there, and by the way, are we going to come up with some things that don't work? Yeah. But the ones that do, man, we're going to be rewarded for the long term. So we have that luxury.
Yeah. Yeah. The long game always wins. People don't play the long game enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to hear that.
Thank you.
So think about the nature of a TA, right? They're entrepreneur, they're hungry, they're aggressive, they're ready to go. And so that's kind of the audience, right? That's the TA base. And so they're out there, struggling through some of the things in different forms of fashion that you've mentioned. So you're here, you've built this multi-billion-dollar fortune. You've got ownership in the Celtics. You've achieved this level of success that, I love seeing founder-led success down this route and seeing founders still involved. What drives you? What's your advice? You've reached that level of success that you think is, hey, this is where I want to be. And you're still out here grinding. You're still in there. Bednarz tells me you're still in there every morning early. How do you want partners to take away with, them doing how you're doing?
So I would correct you when you said, hey, this is where I want to be. This is not where I want to be. Like to be clear, whatever the numbers they say in the internet are, they're probably true. I want more, and it's not, and I'm probably oversharing, but I don't have a fancy car. I don't have fancy things. I don't need to spend money on, what most people might think showy items. I don't care about that. Yeah. I like the competition of the game. I'm being honest. Like the idea of doing more than other people have ever done before in our space. That feels intoxicatingly exciting to me. The idea of making Granite bigger, and we're $1.75 billion every day makes me get up. And I, as Kevin said to you, I get to work at 5:45 every morning. As you could see, I sit in a cube. The team is right over the other side of that cube. 200 or so folks. I work, and it's because I want to compete. And again, I don't need money to buy stuff. Whatever I need, I have. And candidly, I think Granite's most well renowned for philanthropic initiatives, and I'm being honest. That's likely where the rest of my fortune over time goes. But the idea of excelling where others have said we couldn't, it matters to me a lot. And so the most fun in my job is meeting with your TAs and doing deals, and meeting with my teammates and doing deals, and then over the years developing long-term friendships with the customers. I love that. Like that's the best part of my job, and I can't get enough of it. And so I promise you, I'm pedal to the metal, and you can count on that.
I love it. I love it. I love the energy. So, from a hard decisions process, things like that, right? Everybody's out there building businesses. They're going to come into problems. Things are hard, right? We have to figure out how do we work through them. Everything's just an opportunity, just disguised in work clothes, right? What's your framework when the stakes are high, the path isn't clear? What do you kind of use as your guiding principles? Is it a mentor? Is it past lessons? What's your framework there?
There are a couple rules that help guide us. So one of them, two of them came out of that bankruptcy, right? And so first one, as I think I mentioned we from 1991 to 1998, we had grown Network Plus. It was private. My father owned half. I owned half. When you think about it, you have a $130 million business with your dad netting 10, 11, 12% a year. How could you have it any better than that? I had that. Yeah. And then I listened to Wall Street and I screwed up. My bad, my mistakes. But what we got away from was sales and customer service. We got into building local networks, and we raised, through a bunch of different vehicles, hundreds of $1 million. But local networks cost billions of dollars, and if you don't have the back half of the bridge, the front half of the bridge isn't going to do a whole lot of good. And so we got out of the customer business and into the network business. And so I vowed, after that bankruptcy, if I ever get a chance to start a business again, number one, we're going to stick to our knitting. So we're in the customer business. Get and keep customers. Generally, it's a wholesale business. Generally, where the underlying fabric is some other carrier, and we cobble together a whole bunch of location-specific solutions to give the best of each geographic solution to a multi-location big business. But it's somebody else's network. It's some other company's physical structure. What we do is the secret sauce is pull it all together and add an elite level of customer service. And so, number one, that I made a mistake getting away from that in 97, 98 and got into the network business, which required that you get into the finance business. Granite's 22 years old. We just turned 23 a week ago. We're $1.75 billion, so you do the math. We've grown about 90 million a year, 20 years in a row. Right? It's kind of straightforward stuff. It's not sexy. It's consistent. It's hard work. And it's sticking to your knitting. And our knitting is taking great care of customers. And the lesson I learned is don't leave that, and I'm not gonna. Two, the lesson I learned from that painful experience is preceding 97, 98, my father and I owned Network Plus, and we were beholden to our customers and our teammates. And then I made the mistake of letting others invest in us. And I didn't, I didn't know at the time, but you let them in, and then they can control things. And so I vowed again, if we have successes in that next company, that we're not going to let anyone else in. And so I look you in the eye. We don't have any debt. We've never had a penny of outside investment. We've made a singular acquisition, which is a great product. The company called Epic. It was pretty little. It's gotten pretty big, but we bought it to replace analog lines, not to get big, but to help our customers transition. But we're not an acquisitive company, so we don't make acquisitions. We don't have outside investment, and we don't have debt. And so I'm still I'm accountable to the Telarus partners. I'm accountable to your customers. I'm accountable to our customers. Those are the people we're accountable to. So we control our destiny, and I want to keep it that way. And the last one that I learned is integrity matters. So long-winded story, but in 2000, 2001, a couple of the guys from Quest called me and said, "Hey, Rob, you want to do fiber swaps?" And I was CEO of a public company. And fiber swaps is essentially taking CapEx from them and making it our OpEx, and taking CapEx from us and making it their CapEx from us and making it their OpEx. It's dirty. I was a history major. I didn't know what that really meant. So I asked our CFO, hey, what does this mean? And he said, I wouldn't do it. And I'm forever indebted to Bob Cabuzzi for that. Old Salt had been around, a couple of times around the blocks before. I said, can you ask PricewaterhouseCoopers? PricewaterhouseCoopers said, Rob, I don't think you should do this. So I called back Quest and I said, Quest, we're not going to do this. And a day or two later, the guy calls me and he goes, Rob, you're a pissant little reseller, $250 million. We're a $20 billion LEC. And we have Arthur Andersen. That's the same big five as PricewaterhouseCoopers. How can they do it? We can do it, and you can't do it. I'm like, I don't know. Good point. And I went back to Bob, and I went to PwC, and I'm like, guys, don't you think we should do this? And they said, Rob, I don't think you should. Now I'm CEO, so I made the decision. We decided, hey, we're not going to do this. And I promise you, as CEO of a public company, a couple $1 million worth of found earnings is like pennies from heaven. Would it have made us last a quarter or two longer? It may have. It may not have. I don't know. Will we have failed in the long run? I do think we would have. But Socrates said, better to fail with honor than succeed through fraud. What I learned from that is keep your integrity. So the guys from Quest, jail, banned from public industry for the rest of their lives. Me, we failed, and it hurt, and it'll never not hurt. But because you keep your integrity, you get a chance to play the game again.
Yeah.
So born out of those failures, 3 important lessons. 1, stick to your knitting. Like, be good at what you're good at. 2, control your own destiny. Don't let, if it takes longer, that's fine. But if you control your own destiny, you're going to, in the long run, benefit from it. And 3, keep your integrity.
I love it. Final thoughts here. I want to go back to, legacy, impact, some of the things that you talk about. You've done some amazing philanthropic things, 350 million plus cancer research, education, and that's an area that hits home for me. And I want to think of, if you look forward 10, 20, 50 years, what do you want the legacy to be?
Number 1, good dad. Start there. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Like, the real reason I compete, first of all, I just compete because I'm born to do this. Like, I like it. Yeah. We talked about the financial resources. I don't need things. I have whatever I have. I need. Whatever I want, I already have. I'm great with that. I would like to be able to put a dent in pancreatic cancer, and that's a potent disease. We fund 80 doctors, scientists, and researchers solely focused on the eradication of that insidious disease at Dana-Farber. That's the largest lab solely focused on that in the United States. It's the Hale Labs. And I'm telling you, we have things headed to FDA approval that are going to make early detection, which is the problem with pancreatic cancer, is that it's the early detection. If you don't get it, unfortunately, it gets you. And it's almost undetectable. We're going to make early detection accessible to millions. And if that's the case, then, man, that's a great legacy.
I love it.
Thank you.
Love it, man. Awesome, Rob. I think that's where we wrap it. Appreciate all you're doing. Just out there in the community with the partnership with Telarus. I love your hunger and your ability to get on deals, and then of course all the philanthropic pieces as well. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you. It's an honor to work with you. It's an honor to work with Telarus, and to anybody who's considering partnership with Granite, please do, and let me know if I can help you.
Awesome. Hey, go Celtics too, right?
Thank you, John.
All right. Until next time, thanks everybody. Rob Hale, CEO, founder, Granite. I'm your host, Josh Lopresto, SVP of Sales Engineering at Telarus.
Next Level BizTech has been a production of Telarus Studio 19. Please visit Telarus.com for more information.